The American Agent by Jacqueline Winspear. In the aftermath of the war, things never as they seem. People have the way of becoming what they most want to forget, and yet they never truly escape the past. I had come to understand that. In some ways, the dead are easier to deal with than the living. The living can surprise you, change course, betray you, whereas the dead can only tell you the truth if you're willing to listen. Introduction. The series is set in the 1940s during the height of World War II. The story follows a nurse who serves during World War I, Maisie Dobbs. Now in World War II, she turns into an investigator, but she has had a past in war. Maisie Dobbs explores a murder that happened during an air raid in London. The case seems cut and dry, but Maisie starts to find layers of the murder. Here's the gang. Maisie Dobbs, the protagonist, she's an investigator, and has a past as a nurse in the World War One. And she in the book, she's very empathetic. She has a lot of like emotions, which sounds bad, but it's really not. She's very human. Billy Bale, Maisie's loyal assistant and former soldier, he tries to help Maisie whenever possible. Not more so on the emotionally level. We'll get to that later, but he's more of a actually help her physically. Priscilla Worth, a close friend of Maisie, who often offers emotional support to her. That's where she gets that. Here's the plot. After Maisie Dobbs starts to investigate the murder, she ends up finding even more of a complex mystery involving political tension. Along the way, Dobbs faces hardship with her past in World War I. Tension. There's a lot of different types of tension in the book, mostly about psychology, tension, more like mental. The book dives deep into emotion of each character, but mainly Maisie Dobbs. She's still really haunted by her service in World War I, and even at the start of the book, she's also like kind of not scared, but haunted by even World War II, because this is after the World War. She has to deal with her unresolved emotions while investigating her stressful case. Unanswered questions. Sorry for the error. At the end of the book, we find out what happened, but never truly know the motives behind it. At some, we kind of get to know, but it's more of like assuming. It's not really cut and dry, like what actually, was the motives behind it. We know who did it, but we don't know why. Most of the main characters are still having trouble coping with their pasts. No one really, Billy still has PTSD. Dobbs still is haunted by her past in World War One. Related media, this book reminded me of Downton Abbey. They both have a backdrop in World War II, and they both explore the impact on the war for British society. Level of difficulty. The book itself was really easy to read thanks to the writing style, but it can be hard for readers depending on their knowledge of this time period. I had trouble because I didn't know really what was going on in London specifically. Another thing that's not written on here is it kind of gets confusing how characters are feeling like all the time, but for the most part, the writer did a good job. Final thoughts. I think people will like this book if they like the time period in it, so 1940s, post World War II. If they like historical fiction, mystery, and if people, are looking for an easy to read book, writing technique wise, I think this is a really good book to do that.